brought to you by our friends of the British Council. Hey everybody, welcome back to Rugby Wrap Up. Matt McCarthy here at the Fantasy Sports Network Studio 34 in New York City, talking rugby, talking Major League Rugby, and we wouldn't be talking Major League Rugby in the right way if we weren't talking to a great American, the mayor of RugbyTown USA, Mr. Mike Dunafon in Glendale, Colorado. Check this out. Hey everybody, and hello from Glendale, Colorado, RugbyTown USA. I am here with the one, the only Mayor Mike. Mayor Mike, how are you?
Lovely. Now that you're here, you've made the trip.
Mayor Mike, we're here at a point, right? Professional rugby.
Right.
In Glendale, Colorado, RugbyTown USA. But before we get to the present, I want to roll back time a little bit and go into a little bit of backstory about this man, because this is the most interesting man in the world, ladies and gentlemen. For the folks at home that don't know this, you were a pretty damn good college football player, right? And then a cup of coffee with the Denver Broncos?
For 2 different years, yeah.
Okay. And then the lights went off in your head, or went on in your head, and the seas parted, the seas of opportunity, and you moved down to Tortola. While you're in Tortola from 1978 to 1994,
Right.
you were a dive master,
Right.
owned a pub,
Right.
did some stand-up comedy, musician,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Cut to
Yeah.
the start of your rugby career.
Mm-hmm.
You're down there. All of a sudden, you know, people are noticing you. You're a big guy, and you get a knock on the door, and it's
Knock on the hull of the boat.
knock on the hull of the boat.
And it's a fellow named Michael Royal, who's, I learned later, was the captain of the BVI Rugby Club.
British and Virgin Islands.
Right, British Virgin Islands Rugby Club. And his nickname was Muffy, right? And he owned Blue Water Divers.
I could see where we're going with this. Yeah.
That was his name, Muffy from Blue Water Divers. Well, he walks up down a dock at Village Key Marina, knocks on the hull of the boat. Fancy a game of rugby? No. No, thank you. Because I thought rugby was football without pads.
They ask you if you want to go for a sing-sing.
He said, there's a warship in. And in Rhode Harbor, I look across and there's the HMS Cardiff. He said, we're going for a sing-song on the Cardiff. And I had some pints with the boys. I said, sing-song. Yeah, we're being hosted, the governor and the captain of the ship and the lads we're playing tomorrow are hosting us. I said, you're going to drink beer with your opponent and sing songs?
Prior to the match.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of such a thing, ever. I said, well, I'd love to do that. He said, well, then you have to play. I said, I don't want to play rugby. That's football without, no, man. I said, all right, I got to see this. I'll play. He says, have you got a blazer? I said, now you're telling me you play in blazers?
Men in blazers.
He said, no, for the sing-song. So we end up on the HMS Cardiff singing with the Royal Marines. I mean, here they are, why, Delilah, right?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
and drinking. So I couldn't believe it. It was a marvelous social scene. I'd never seen anything like it. So the next day, we're playing at 11 o'clock, which is something that the BVI Rugby Club does to all their opponents. They didn't care about any of the stuff I'd done in my past. What they cared about was that I weighed 235 pounds.
Front row.
Tight head prop.
Indoctrination to rugby, and this is long before the new rules on engaging.
Oh.
You know, this is smash the guy in the face with.
Oh yeah,
with,
or kick you.
Yeah.
The hooker kicks you in the face, and you learn little things like scissoring and
the dark arts.
Yeah, the dark arts, the things that really happen in the inside workings of rugby.
So it upset you so much that you've been playing pretty much since, and I know that you recently played.
Well,
It's relatively recently.
Yeah, relatively. Glendale now has an old boys side, right? And so I would be the oldest of the old boys, except for Mark Bullock, who's a year and a half older than I am.
Okay.
Mark went in and played for half a quarter.
Oh, he raised.
And then he comes around the corner playing number 9, thinks he'll take one off the ruck, right? Smashed him.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm watching this, and I sub in and sub out almost simultaneously. But I stepped on the pitch.
All right, hold on. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with Mayor Mike after this.
Been blind since I was 4. And I've never seen a beer commercial or a beer label. None of that stuff influences me. I drink beer because of the taste. And my beer's Pabst Blue Ribbon. It has the taste and the flavor.
What do you think's on the label?
I think there's a naked woman riding on a unicorn, jumping over fire. Oh, that's good beer.
Hey everybody, we're back at Glendale, Colorado, RugbyTown USA. Matt McCarthy with Mayor Mike. Mr. Mayor, it's here at this, what I call rugby heaven, that rugby heaven on earth, that is Glendale, Colorado, and RugbyTown. And from the days of a pub owner / entertainer / dive master, did you ever imagine being mayor of RugbyTown USA with this setup and having professional rugby born here?
I would love to say that I had this vision at birth, but no is the answer. I got into rugby because Mark Bullock needed a manager for the U19 national team and in the United States. I was invited by my son to come out and coach because they'd lost their coach, and I said, well, I've never coached, but I'll come out and see what you're doing. Well, they were playing thugby. They were beating each other senseless. So we organized that a bit and went to the state quarterfinals with 14 kids, essentially. Wow. We would gather up kids as we went along. And
you play in 15s?
15s, and 3 of those kids have played for the Raptors.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
And then I eventually became the manager of the U19 team, which contained Todd Clever and my son Tyler. We toured Australia, went won 5 and lost 1.
Amazing experiences.
Yeah.
So how did this happen?
Well, what occurred then,
politics.
Who would think that you could get into politics if your wife owned a strip joint? So I was kind of persona non grata. Not that rugby players didn't go to topless nightclubs. They do.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. See, that was the universal response. So we started by changing the politics in Glendale to become a libertarian enclave, and we needed something that would take all, we spoke 13 languages in this town. A lot of those kids were from
Not everybody.
Not everybody.
Not everybody. That's
but
a lot of languages.
We were by and large an immigrant community. Lots of languages, people matriculating in and out. And the average age of Glendale is 28 years old, the citizens.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's changed a bit before we had more families. The kids didn't have any place to recreate and no money, really. Well, if you're going to go out and play hockey, you've got to spend a fortune on hockey gear. Any of those sports, not rugby. You need a patch to play on. You can play barefooted, as they do in Fiji and Tonga, and a pair of shorts. Samoa. All over the world, essentially. Yeah. They're kicking coconuts around, literally playing with coconuts. So we put this program together, recruited Mark Bullock. He was a principal up in Vail. We got him down here. We started the youth program and decided that we were going to become very, very serious about the game of rugby and kids and youth. Now we've got 1,400 kids playing the game. We have an academy side, a D1 side, the best, arguably one or two best women's team in the United States at the elite division. The Raptors have done it extremely well. So now we have the Raptors in a D1 side called the Merlins.
Right.
In fact, England trained here last year for the World Cup.
Well, the facility's unbelievable.
Our pitch, and for the uninitiated, there won't be so many listening to your show, but that's the field. The Turf Managers Association of the United States gives an award out every year for some 3,600 pitches, turf fields, Lambeau Field, Dick's Sporting Goods. It's never been won more than once. Infinity Park has won it 5 times.
No, I don't doubt it.
So it's Twickenham of North America.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing as they say, paddock.
Yeah.
Amazing place to play. There's nothing better in this country.
So the business model is pretty interesting, what you guys have put together here, right? You've got the hotels involved in it, municipal monies, right? How can that work? Can you make that model work in other towns?
You can make any model work if you have the political willpower to do it, and you can justify it. In the instance of the hotels, they were booking out 55% on the weekends. They're always desperate to fill themselves on the weekends because their model is the business traveler.
Sure.
So we said, we have an idea that we think will fill your hotels on the weekends. And of course, they couldn't stop us. They disagreed. They said, this will never happen. You won't do it. And it won't help us because they didn't know about rugby,
right,
or rugby fans or rugby players. So we passed a lodger's tax and used the money from a lodger's tax and from a thing called certificates of participation, another bonding instrument, to build this. And we also built a ballroom. We saw that 250 events a year leave Denver because that room didn't exist. It now exists and is booking out 2 years in advance. So we built it, and now the hotels are booking in the 90s on the weekends.
That's awesome.
And thanks to Linda Cassidy, who I know you've interviewed before, our bond rating's gone up twice. As a friend of ours said, that's like growing younger.
Yeah, so it's all so exciting, especially for somebody that's all in, right? And you can tell that you're all in, and everybody in this town is all in, and it's just an exciting time in rugby, and you're right front and center in it, and I got to thank you because it's a wild time and it's a great thing to be part of.
I appreciate that very much. The team that is Glendale, the team on the pitch and the team behind the scenes, there's no better any place. We couldn't do broadcast because we couldn't get a broadcast partner interested. We went to the various sports organizations in Denver and eventually rented a truck. We got Pat Guthrie comes along with the Fox box, so we have the graphics. We shoot our own rugby game, and we go back to these sports organizations, and they said, when did we do this? Fox in particular.
Right.
You didn't.
Yeah.
But we'd like to buy 90 minutes of your time. Well, we'd like to buy your program. No, we'll sell the ads.
Yeah.
And so now we have our own broadcast unit. I think our record is 110 nations that we've broadcast to worldwide. We have our own in-house production, Michael Galvin. The Jumbotron, everything is...
Yeah, the lights, everything is
first class.
Yeah.
The reason you don't see seats, you just see risers.
Right.
We had to make a decision. We wanted to attract the Churchill Cup. We had to have high-def lighting. So we built lighting that exceeded FIFA's broadcast light standard for World Cup matches. So when you come to Glendale, it sparkles. It's unbelievable.
So you better not make any mistakes because we're going to see it, folks.
You will see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely
All
right.
Well, there's certainly no mistakes here. Very excited about what's transpiring. Professional rugby, United States, RugbyTown USA, the epicenter of it, ladies and gentlemen. You have to get here. Congratulations, Mayor Mike.
My pleasure.
All right.
Good to see you.
Thank you, Mayor Mike. Thank you, Linda. There's too many people out there to thank properly, so I'm not going to try to do it, but you guys are great. Love going out there. Rugby heaven on earth. Glendale, Colorado, RugbyTown USA. On behalf of all of them, a grateful Matt McCarthy for Rugby Wrap Up in New York City, signing off.